Hey everybody, I'm JJ Johnson. You're watching Reality Survival. So today what I wanted to talk with you about real quick is the administrative side of prepping. This is something that not a lot of people talk about, and it's not an exciting aspect or a manly aspect of prepping, but it's a very responsible thing to do, to have all your administrative stuff in order. And so I guess the first thing with this is it's essentially just talking about, do you have your paperwork in order if something was to happen to you or to happen to your loved one? Do you have your life insurance? Do you know who your policy is with and what the procedures are if something's to take place, something bad was to happen to either you or your spouse? You know who to contact. Do you have those papers put somewhere in a safe place, like maybe a safety deposit box, or copies of all the material on a thumb drive, put into a secure location or something like that? House could burn down, and you might not, if you don't remember right off the top of your head who your insurance is through and all those kinds of things, and it may be difficult to figure that all out if you don't have that information somewhere. The next thing is a will. I have heard many stories of people who didn't ever have wills in place. And a lot of people think, well, I don't have very much money, so I don't really need to get a will. But you may have more than you think. You could have the equity in your home. There's your vehicles or assets, your estate, as far as the material things that you have. They all have worth, and if you pass away and you haven't willed that to somebody, it can literally take months and months for them to be able to get access to the proceeds from that after an estate sale or something, or whatever the case may be. It can be a real hassle. So, having just a state-specific will established is really important. One easy place to go do that that I'm aware of is just LegalZoom.com. I'm not affiliated with them in any way or anything like that, but I've done LLCs and a couple other things through LegalZoom, and they make the process pretty easy. So I would definitely recommend taking a look at that. And it's just an easy thing to do. You could probably have it done in less than an hour, and it saves a ton of heartache and hassle for your loved ones. So I would definitely recommend that. Let's see here. Obviously, most people have car insurance and all that kind of stuff, but I personally, I don't like to pay a lot of additional insurances and all that kind of stuff because I think it's mostly a ripoff. But what I've learned is that having full coverage insurance is something that's worth its money that you're paying for it. Especially with all the people they're texting and driving and stuff. I've had a couple people hit me, and I know that their insurance, usually covers it and all that kind of stuff, but it's just easier if you've got full coverage insurance, I think. So that's just my opinion. Obviously, your results may vary based on your situation, but having that stuff up to snuff, I think is smart, and driving without it is just not smart these days. Medical insurance, with Obamacare and all that kind of stuff, everybody's kind of been forced into this, but making sure that you have medical insurance, I think, is an important thing to have, especially if you have a family with young kids and all that kind of stuff. I'm not preaching to anybody. I'm just trying to get you to think about stuff that maybe you didn't have in order or something like that. So a living will, and my understanding of a living will, I'm not an attorney or anything like that, but my understanding of it is, and we have one, but it's basically, if a medical situation was to happen, you kind of put in, you designate who you want to be your healthcare provider or whatever. And there's a couple of different kinds of living wills. So if you guys are really familiar with this, you can put some of the information in the comments below for other people. But essentially, you're just designating who you want to make your healthcare decisions for you. And if you don't have, it's not the same as a will. It's specifically for healthcare issues, and if you don't have that designated, then your spouse or your loved one, whoever you want it to be, may not be able to make those decisions, and depending on the state and the situation and all that kind of stuff. So having those outlined is a good thing. And I think that you can even make some specificity on, whether or not you want to be put on, life support and different things for different circumstances, if you want to get a little bit more specific into it, because like for me personally, I would never want to be a vegetable, stuck on life support for years and years and years, that I think that would be terrible. But I've spoken with my wife about it, and she knows those desires and all that kind of stuff. So let's see here. The next thing is, backing up your data and your important documents, and I guess let me go one step further on there. Do you have copies of all your important documents? Your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, the deed to your home, and all those kinds of things. Having copies, physical, actual copies of those things is a good idea, because if there is ever any kind of a, cyber attack on the grid, or an EMP, or, anything where the grid is down or damaged, or, whatever the case may be, then you have a physical document to show your ownership of a property. Now with all electronic records and all that kind of stuff, it's quite possible that that kind of stuff could be wiped out and not retrievable. Many counties do keep, paper copy records as well, but having a good backup, I think, is pretty important. And you can put those important documents, you can have them in flash drives or multiple flash drives or external hard drives. You could also, like I said, have them printed out. You could keep them in a safety deposit box or at a friend's house, or something like that. But having some extra ones, out there is probably a pretty good idea. Next thing is passport. Do you have a passport? If you some friends of mine were talking about this not long ago, and they were like, if you got pulled over and somebody asked you to prove your citizenship, could you do it? And most people don't carry around their birth certificate, and so passport is probably the best and easiest way to give solid proof of your citizenship. It also enables you to travel in case of an emergency. I don't necessarily think that there's probably a lot of situations where you're going to run to Canada or where you're going to run to Mexico or anything like that, but there could be. You never know. I mean, depending on where you live, if you live close to a border or something like that, it might be, advisable to have a passport. It could be one avenue of egress for you, to get out of a situation or something like that. So anyway, guys, just a real quick video. I didn't want to spend too much time on this because I know it's really boring, but just trying to get you to think about having your admin preps in order. What other admin preps are there that you guys can think of right now that people should get in order? Go ahead and stick that stuff in the comments below so that we can all kind of learn from each other and discuss this, in the comment section. And I would definitely appreciate that. I would also appreciate it if you click the thumbs up button, if you share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. And don't forget to live the 6 Ps. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. Stay safe, guys.